Welcome back. It's good to see you again. I have a pet peeve, something that I learned through the pandemic that I want to share with you. I've had probably a half a dozen, maybe close to a dozen, clients that have come to see me in the last couple of months that can't either get into their doctor's office, or I had a guy who was on a plane from Washington State back to Florida. He thought he had COVID and he contacted his primary care and they said, "We're not seeing sick patients." And I thought to myself, you're not seeing sick patients. Okay. So what did you do? And he said, well, I went online and started taking high doses of vitamin C and vitamin D, and I treated myself. And I thought, people need more than just, let me Google what's going on. It could be cancer, it could be a paper cut. It's not the information that you're getting off of Google or Siri or whatever. It's not highly accurate information, and I want to be a resource to help people understand that you can do things at home, you can do things for yourself, but not to rely on an article that was copied by someone else for someone else's, webpage. So it's important for me to impart good wisdom to you about healthcare and wellness in the post-pandemic age. So I'd like to share with you a few examples of situations that have occurred in my practice and with me that made me really focus my attention on creating this YouTube channel and talking to you about health and wellness. So a couple of months ago, I went to the store and bought a pair of shoes on sale. They're walking shoes. And I thought, okay, walking shoes, great idea, because I'm walking more than ever, going home after work and walking 45 minutes with the dog. So got myself a really good pair of shoes. And I've been wearing them about a month, and I noticed that my feet were slowly inching forward where my big toe was touching the edge of the shoe. And one night I went home from work, I grabbed Andy, my dog, and I took him on a pretty aggressive walk. And I got back into the house and felt a really tight pain. It was like there was something underneath my kneecap that was pushing. And so I took my shoes off, sat on the couch, raised my leg, and an hour later I tried to stand up and I couldn't. I had searing pain behind my kneecap, and it almost felt like the tibia was pushing up into the patella, which is right behind the knee. And I was stunned. I didn't know what to do. And my first reaction, which is probably what you would do too, is to think, oh my God, I'm gonna have to go to the emergency room and get this taken care of. I can't walk. So I stepped back for a second, mentally, not physically, and I thought about all the tools that I have in my home and in my own mind how to treat this knee problem. So I immediately started putting heat on it, because in traditional Chinese medicine, we use a lot of applications of heat, and that didn't help at all. It actually made it 10 times worse. So I grabbed the ice bag, put the ice bag on the knee, then I used an herbal gel, then I traded out 15 minutes later a CBD cream to reduce inflammation. I ate some chunks of pineapple because pineapple contains enzymes that help reduce inflammation systemically. And then I alternated using acupressure and ice, using pressure points that I know how to use, that I'm going to teach you at some point in the future in some of my upcoming videos. And about 4 hours later, I was able to stand up and put some pressure on the knee. Then I remembered that I had a knee brace left over from a couple of years ago for the other knee. So I mobilized the knee. Then I continued using ice and arnica and CBD and acupressure. And then I added some Chinese herbs that I had found in the back of a cabinet that I knew I had to help reduce inflammation. And I set my alarm clock for every 30 minutes. So I would fall asleep, wake up for 30 minutes, and continue the acupressure, the ice, and the arnica cream and the CBD cream. And finally, the next day, I was able to walk. Had this been someone else, I fear that they may have gone through the emergency room, maybe gotten some expensive injections, maybe had to take steroids that could have caused future problems. and they may not have had the wherewithal to know what to do. So I want to help people understand that they can do things themselves without the need of an ER or a center care. And sometimes those simple things are the best things that we can do for ourselves and save those emergencies for the emergency room, right? The big emergencies, the gaping cuts that can't be stitched at home or bandaged and so on. So I'm sure you know what I'm saying. I also have a client that came to see me a couple of weeks ago. She had flown to Washington State with her kids. They went on vacation, and she came back and she said her ears had so much pressure she could barely stand it, and she asked if there was something that I could do. And I explained to her that acupuncture and moxibustion, which is a form of herbal heat therapy that's applied over the area of discomfort, could most likely assist her with that pressure behind her ears. She had tried everything, popping her ears, going to get her ears cleaned. She went to an ENT and they gave her steroids and nothing was helping. And so I helped her with using acupuncture and acupressure and some magnet therapy and some heat therapy. We also use something very simple called castor oil packing. We take castor oil that's hexane free and rub it on a natural cloth, so either natural cotton or some kind of wool or flannel, and apply it to behind the ear with a heating pad. And over a couple of days, her hearing came back and the ear pressure and pain came down. I also recommend that she use ear planes, which is a super cool product. They're purchased usually at CVS or Walgreens or your favorite drugstore. And I recommend people with, especially women with small eustachian tubes, use the child size so that they can equalize the pressure in the airplane, but not screw in so hard into the ear. They do look like little corkscrews, that's why I said that. With the adult size, they can impact wax and cause a lot of ear discomfort. So I like the clients of mine to use the child size. So that was another way that I helped her. We could have avoided the whole ENT steroid situation had we just known about it sooner, but she went the traditional route first and then came to see me afterwards. So, and then she treated her son and he did quite well with that also. Another example of something that I've done with clients that is more simple versus, having to go to the ER to get pain injections is when someone hurts their back. So I have a lot of clients that come in that have muscle spasms or injure their backs, lifting something, carrying a child, putting overhead luggage in an airplane, and it hits all of a sudden and it's debilitating. And your first reaction, of course, like most, would be, let's go to the hospital or let's go to a center care and get a pill or get an injection to make it go away, which is, it's fine to do, but there are so many other things that you could do that can take a more natural approach that can give you help at home quickly. So what I typically recommend for someone that has tweaked their back is to start eating pineapple. And I mentioned that a few minutes ago when I talked about my knee. Pineapple contains an enzyme that helps reduce inflammation. So I typically recommend that my clients take 3 rings of pineapple and cut them up and eat them on an empty stomach to allow the enzymes to reduce inflammation, and to use castor oil packs and heat on a low back injury initially to try to relieve the inflammation locally. There are Chinese herbs that can be used as well, but we typically don't have those in our cabinet readily available unless you know somebody like me that prescribes Chinese herbs. There are also acupressure techniques that work really well for low back pain. Easy access, you don't actually have to do them on your back. They're located on the inside of the where the thumb and the index finger make an L. And I'll show you in other videos how those acupressure techniques work. My producer just interrupted me and told me that I dropped 12 health bombs on you, which is fantastic. I have a lot more to offer you, so it would be great if you'd follow me on Rumble. You can go to my website, tammybennettomd.com, and email me and we can talk about things and stay in tune with each other. And you can also subscribe on the YouTube channel. I look forward to seeing you guys soon.